Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Danny, the Wicked Awesome Gardener, coming at you from the Wicked Awesome Garden. And today we are going to do a mid-September garden tour. And it's not pretty. Honestly, things have been so busy that this is so neglected. I have so much to harvest that I really need to pick and get in and get stuff done with. And it's kind of more than I can eat in a lot of ways, so definitely some modifications to be made for next year. My kids really did not dig into some of the things that I thought they were going to. Like, they love green beans and they love peas and they love carrots and all these things, but they're not really here enough now because they have jobs and college that they're not really eating as much of what I planted as I expected. So definitely going to have to scale certain things back and ramp up the production on some other things that we actually do eat a whole lot of. Like that spaghetti squash, the angel hair, I'm growing 1,000,000 of those next year. I could eat that for dinner every night, and they store for so long. So that's definitely going to be a focus for next year. But let's go ahead, take a look through. But before we jump into that, go ahead, click the subscribe button here. Guys, I'm getting so close to that 1,000 subscribers. I definitely need a whole bunch of watch time. So if you guys want to go and check out some of my back catalog, go look at the beginning. See this garden when it did not exist. Back in my first few videos, I gave a little tour of this space, and there was no garden here. There were no beds, there was no plants, there was no nothing. And just to see what you can do from scratch in a single year. It's crazy. You know, I built this all up and I'm unfortunately having to leave it behind because I have to move in a couple of months. My landlord sold the building, so unfortunately I'm going to be saying goodbye to this beautiful garden, and I'm going to have to rebuild it in other places. 2, maybe 3 garden spaces next year, who knows. Still working out the plans on that. See if I can get a community garden space, but I digress. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications when we put out new content. I'm still trying to hammer out a good night to go live regularly. I think at this point it might be looking at Fridays because I'm busy every other single night of the week. You know, 2 musicals and work and everything else. It's getting to be a lot. Thankfully, that'll be over in November, and I'm taking a theater break for the winter, and I'm just going to make some content for you guys, do some lives, all that stuff about, you know, how I'm going to prepare the next garden, where the next garden's going to be, and all of that. But let's go ahead, take a look at the garden. This is one of my favorite spaces right now, is the okra. Because look at these flowers. Like, there are a couple of plants that I grow in my garden that I really think you can use as an ornamental and grow some food and kind of maybe sneak it into the HOA. I don't know. But look at these okra blooms. They're so pretty. And sneaky food. Now, as you can see, a lot of this okra is really overgrown, but that's on purpose. I am going to be harvesting these, not tonight, unfortunately, and not tomorrow, but looking at Friday, and I'm going to make an okra couscous. So you can actually use the seeds inside of overgrown okra as a substitute for couscous. It's gluten-free, it's delicious, and I'm going to give that a shot. I really need to pull up these carrots. My kids are going to be here this week, so they're going to eat quite a lot of these as snacks. And I haven't decided if I'm going to let that completely dry out and give me carrot seed, but probably not. I'm going to have to clip these flowers, and I don't want to have the new owners of the property just have carrots, you know, randomly all over their yard. But I don't know, they're going to have plenty of tomatoes and things already, so may as well just continue. But, you know, they should be able to, even though I'm taking the wood for the beds, I'm taking the arched cattle panel trellises and all of that. I'm taking all of this and leaving the dirt because I don't have a way to move that, obviously, so they're just going to rake it out on their lawn. But they're probably going to have a lot of food growing out of their yard without even needing to plant any. Look at my plant babies. I'm going to have to thin a little bit. I think I sowed some of this kale a little more thickly than intended, but I'm going to let them grow a bit longer. So we've got the kale coming up. We've got a little bit of spinach here and there. Not as much of the spinach is germinating as I thought, but I mean, I'm going to give it a little more time before I go and sow some more. Lots of lettuce. I don't know if I'm going to get any of the romaine. It might just be spinach and the bronze mignonette, tango, red leaf. That's the ruby red leaf. You can already tell. So, yay, deliciousness. This marigold is mocking me. Mocking me. All the flowers I tried to grow all year, and the bunnies just kept eating them, and everything that I planted just would not survive the bunny assault. But this one marigold, I didn't even plant. This was reseeded from a marigold that my landlord transplanted out here last year, and it just reseeded itself, and look at all those blooms. Mocking me. Absolutely mocking me. But it's gorgeous, right? And how about this zucchini? This zucchini has survived an onslaught from squash vine borers. Like, look at that stem. And yet, it's still producing. These look like they've been pollinated. I think I'm gonna get a couple more zucchini. This vine finally died, even though it was trying valiantly to give me more food. You know what? That's pretty, that might be edible. I'm gonna come out and pick that in a few minutes. Finally, bush beans. After the bunnies ate my entire spring planting of bush beans, I've finally managed to get a whole bunch, get a nice crop here, and I'm gonna try, for the first time, these awesome looking purple bush beans. That is such a cool color. I bet it goes away when you cook it though. I'll find out. It's tasty though. And the Brussels sprouts are brustling. There was definitely a lot of aphid damage for a little bit, but then bye-bye pests, and it looks nice and healthy. I've got to remove all the leaves from like here down and get rid of those. I have a couple more Brussels sprouts that have fallen over, and I've got to stake them up or something. But now they've turned, and now they're growing sideways and then up, so I don't know if staking is going to help. I have a lime! Woohoo! It's a lime! Oh, and it's also a maple tree. Didn't get a whole lot of potatoes, but the potatoes we got are growing well. We have a very sleepy yellow jacket that's been hanging out here for a while. Look at all the jalapeno. It's crazy. This is a smaller bush over here, but it's got a lot on it. Lots and lots and lots of jalapenos this year. More purple peppers. Got a lot more Alma paprika and Lutschauer paprika peppers to harvest, so we're about to start drying those. Hoping to get to that this weekend. I'll leave these on the vine until that happens though. Lots and lots of bell peppers happening in here. Can't wait. I'm gonna make a goulash. It's gonna be awesome. Got lots more eggplant coming, which is great because I'm gonna make another ratatouille next week. I still haven't figured out what this one is over here, but there's a new eggplant coming on that, so we'll see what it ends up being. I think it's a Thai yellow. The bees really, really love this. Eggplant is another one of those that really can get away with being an ornamental, because look at these beautiful purple flowers. Even the leaves are pretty. They're fuzzy, they're wide. It really makes a good way to kind of sneak some agriculture into your garden, some veggie production. When you can't have like a garden, you can sneak some eggplant and okra in there. Spaghetti squash, the vine is dying, which means pretty soon I'm going to be able to harvest these. Those I'm probably going to go store because I can't eat all of that at once. I'm going to need somebody to help me out with those. But, let's see. Got another squash there, and over there, and over there, and over here. Lots of cucumbers that I really, really need to harvest. Peas are coming up just on half of the trellis. The rabbits ate the rest all the way down, and it's just a little too late to sow more, which is sad. This area is still barren. I'm going to throw some radishes in here, get some of that. That'll be great. These pole beans have been hanging and drying here on the vine, and I'm going to harvest a whole mess of those for seed. Way more seed than I could possibly need, so maybe I will give some of that away. But even though these vines are dead looking, I've discovered it's still putting off beans. Not nearly as many, just a few here and there, but hey, I'll eat them. All right, here's some flowers that I actually did plant that did pretty well despite my absolute and utter neglect. It's these marigolds, and they are massive. Like, this thing is bent over, but it's like 6 feet tall if I had been able to stake it up or something like that. So the problem is these giant marigolds are all growing from that. A little 6 cell, and their roots just went right through the bottom into the ground, and they took off. Same thing with these nasturtium, but oh my god, look at these beautiful leaves. They're so pretty. But they're also planted in the 6 cell, and then their roots go down into the ground. Whoops. And now for the picture of neglect, which is I've been too busy to keep up with eating all of these tomatoes, and I haven't been picking as much, so they are definitely, there is so much waste here, and I feel terrible. Look at all those pink brandywines. So I have borrowed a food mill from a friend, and I'm finally going to get around to making some sauce. Okay, the Valencia tomato is insanely productive. Like, insane. And it's still going. A lot of these tomatoes are up over 8-10 feet tall, coming up over the trellis down the other side. I didn't really get any pickling cucumbers this year. The vine just did not grow very well, but the market moors are definitely the star of the show. And again, here's more tomato carnage. This is so, I'm so mad at myself. But we're gonna get these all picked, and sauce is happening on Friday. I wanted to find out what, oh goodness, there's more cucumbers. Country Mama, if you're watching this, help! It's time to make the pickles. If you guys haven't seen Country Mama's time to make the pickles video, then you need to. I wanted to see which, woo, no. All right, well, I'm gonna save that one, but I'll grab it in a second. I wanted to see which tomato variety was the best for sauce as far as like a paste tomato. And this is the Amish paste. And then this one that fell over in the storm is the Jersey Devil. And I think that's my out and out winner. This Roma isn't bad either. Definitely really productive, puts on a good sized tomato, but I don't know if I really am loving it. They're okay, but I think the Amish paste and the Jersey Devil, I'm definitely gonna grow again next year. No more yellow pear. Yellow pear was just terrible. Tiny tomatoes, and they didn't really taste that great. And I don't like the tiny tomatoes if we're going to be making sauce. So we're going to stay away from that. But guys, this is what happens when you don't stake up your determinate tomatoes. Is they just, I got really busy and I didn't get to these, and it's become an absolute horrendous mess. Again, like, I'm so mad at myself. I can't even really get down this row because these are even indeterminate tomatoes, and they've just flopped over their extra vines that I didn't prune into this big long thing, and I'm betting that some of those have rooted along the ground, but I've really got to get in here. Then the storm blew a whole bunch of things over. We had Tropical Storm Henri come through, and it just, yeah, it knocked a whole lot of things over, and I didn't have time to get out here and really fix it. So there's a lot of blight in this bed, a lot of blight, way more that's in the other bed over there. And I actually planted this bed more sparsely than that one. So this really shows you the difference that pruning and staking and single stemming your tomatoes, or double stemming really in my case, but really shows the difference that it can make. So yeah, I'm always going to prune my tomatoes from now on. I'm just going to make sure I get in there, get it done early, and then keep up with it, because this was insanity. So definitely some successes, definitely some failures, or I don't know if you can really call them failures, but maybe failure to keep up with, because the production is definitely there with those tomatoes. It's just they need some help from me. I'm going to try to give them some more triage. It seems like that's all I am with my tomatoes, is I plant them and I become a triage nurse because I then neglect their care. But I'm going to pick those tomatoes. I'm going to harvest everything, prune up stuff that doesn't need to be there anymore, like it's already put off fruit there. I'm just going to try to do as much as I can to prune them so that we can have extended production, hopefully into October. I don't know when exactly we're going to have our first frost, because it is getting cold early. We're already having some nights in the 50s. I don't like this at all. It makes me very, very sad. It's like I don't have much time left in this garden anyway, and you can't give me that, all the way at least till mid-October, late October for a first frost. Come on. But we're definitely getting down in there. I do have some strategies for frost protection, so don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can be up to date and see that video when it comes out, when I show you what I'm going to do with some of these cattle panel trellises to protect all that tender lettuce that's starting to grow. All right, guys, thank you for coming along on my little garden tour with me and seeing my secret shame of my tomatoes. And I will see you next time while we grow more wicked awesome food from yard to table. Bye-bye.